we have a 70% possibility of having 11 to 17 named storms for this season. Virginia Beach is ready for hurricane season. We do this annually. With Hurricane Matthew that we experienced this last year, we had a significant amount of lessons learned. We've had several meetings and an after-action report developed, and we've already made significant changes in where we identified our gaps. So as we go into the new season, we've already made changes to address some of the shortfalls we had with Matthew. But one of the biggest messages is then communicating that out to the community and helping them prepare for hurricane season as well. The best thing that anyone in our community can do is make sure that they're connected to the information so that we as a city can provide that information as quickly and efficiently as possible. Whether it's through the news system or apps on your phone or the reverse calling system that the city has, we need everybody to make sure that they have the best possible outlet to stay informed of this ever-changing weather that we have. With Matthew, it affected a community that only had about 25% coverage of flood insurance. And the folks in those communities are still suffering the repercussions of that. Our typical storms that we have that hit the north end or down in Sandbridge, they're in special flood hazard zones. They have the flood insurance. It's 90 to 95% coverage. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to get flood insurance, but also understand your flood insurance policy. That was another gap that we identified with citizens in the community, is that their insurance provider did not give them all the information that they needed, and they didn't understand their flood insurance. And if anybody tells you that you can't have flood insurance because you're not in a special flood hazard zone, that is not true.
This event really advances the interaction between social, cultural, and economic ties between the two countries and between Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads overall.
As we started working with the embassy, we figured we're together fighting the war, and that's what we wanted to bring their military members here. And while we started talking about it, we found out there's a lot in common, the country of Denmark and the state of Virginia, economically.
Using this range of events around the Wounded Warriors and the Warrior Week is an extraordinary way, I think, to further cement important bonds between the two countries, between the two peoples, that can lead to greater business relationships over time.
It's difficult for a small country to engage with America at the nationwide level because your big companies are almost the size of our country's economy. It's a mismatch. So what we're trying to see is we have certain areas where Denmark has unique expertise. Pharma is one of them, some defense contracting and other areas. So say, okay, let's engage at the state level. And the local people here were kind enough to say, okay, we'd welcome you, we'd like to talk to you, and see if there are areas where we can work together.
The benefits of working together, of course, is increased business for both countries. Both economies can thrive by tying the markets closer together.
Today, we actually released our 100th sea turtle. We are working with our area fishing piers to encourage anglers to report when they accidentally hook sea turtles, so that we can come and rescue them and rehab them and then release them. They don't mean to catch sea turtles. When they're accidentally hooked, they now know to report them, and not only are they helping us rescue those animals, but they're helping us learn about these animals. Today, this sea turtle razzmatazz had a transmitter on its back, so we will now be able to follow razzmatazz movements in the Chesapeake Bay, something that we really know very little about.
This is carving really good. I've been carving for about 37 years, I guess. I do my birds the old way. This bird started out with a block that I chopped out with a hatchet.
The goal of the museum is to educate people who come here to visit about the rich history of wildfowling and duck hunting. It is to also educate them about the early history of the city of Virginia Beach.
The more you cut your fingers, the more careful you are. Keep super glue and Band-Aids handy.
The carvers are actually the show here in the museum. They are able to show people exactly the effort and work that gets put into these works of art. People who visit can actually come in and sit and watch the carvers work and ask questions and discuss with them their techniques.
I make most of my birds out of materials that I find from the Chesapeake Bay and the Lynnhaven River. So most of my pieces are made out of found materials, and I make my paints from scratch with pigment powders. So everything's kind of done the century-old way.
Decoy making and bird hunting, which has been very popular here over the years, still is to this day. And I'm very interested in preserving this craft. It isn't exactly a dying art, but it's certainly not as prevalent as it was 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Very glad that we have the opportunity to come to a place like this, very unique on the beach, and the history of the building is fascinating.
People come in and say, "Oh, I don't see how you'd have the patience to do that." Well, you're doing something you love to do. You don't think about patience. You know, you just do it. Just come on down to the museum and see for yourself.
There's no other governor in the United States of America that is about to sign the bills, and I'm about to sign here, which is so important. And what we're about to see here, I will have a bill delivered to me by a robot here in a few seconds, the autonomous vehicles. I believe Virginia is now leading the country in this area as well. Go!
All right.
Oh, this is fantastic. The bills that were signed today open up a new chapter for Virginia in terms of autonomy. We've placed a high premium on making Virginia the leader in aerial, land-based as well as water-based, and now to be able to have this delivery component that's able to get on our sidewalks and our shared pathways, it's a perfect addition to the Virginia strategy.
Our robot is at its starting point of its autonomous driving route. Its cameras are looking around. It generally knows its location at 1-inch accuracy.
It's essentially an Uber for things, and it's going to allow people who are perhaps non-ambulatory, who don't have time to do their shopping. It's going to really expedite the ability of people to get stuff, whether it be food delivery, groceries, packages, at times convenient for them and for less than $1 per delivery.
The autonomous vehicles we've had now 2 years of legislation. One was for autonomous cars. This year was a little bit more interesting. It's the autonomous delivery vehicle. So imagine the UPS or FedEx truck coming into your neighborhood, stopping, and then for the next 2 miles, 8 of these devices get out. They look like coolers. They run around delivering packages.
It's a historic day for Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads because Virginia signed the first of its kind unmanned personal delivery device legislation here in Virginia. And what's that mean for our citizens? It means a whole new economy. It means creation of new jobs with regards to the supply chain or manufacturing or learning how to drive these things and operate these things.
Hi, my name is Bill Gay, and I'm a fitness instructor for Virginia Beach Parks and Rec. I teach body pump classes at Great Neck, Bayside, and Bow Creek. I have not always been into fitness. In November of 2010, I had a triple bypass, and that sort of gave me a wake-up call to get active. I discovered the rec centers. At first I was just a member that loved body pump. After a couple of years of that, the body pump instructors encouraged me to go through the training process. They said, you know, you've got a fitness story and you're going to inspire others to get active that maybe aren't. From then to now, I've been able to certainly turn my life around. I eat better, I sleep better, I feel better. Certainly if I could get off the couch, put out the cigarette, step into a gym, starting out just finding out how to work the elliptical or the bicycle or whatever it is that you're going to do for a workout, and then discovering a group fitness class that's fun and works for you. If I can do it, you can too.
Now it's your turn to get out there and get pumped. Visit vbgov.com/parks.